You're listening to Armchair QB South. Please like and subscribe today. Find us on Facebook and Twitter, Armchair Quarterback South, giving a Southern voice to the world of sports. You're listening to Armchair QB South. Please like and subscribe today. Find us on Facebook and Twitter, Armchair Quarterback South, giving a Southern voice to the world of sports. Hey, football fans, the Armchair Quarterback Show is back Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. A 3-hour wake-up show that'll cover it all. College football, the NFL, fantasy football, and Major League Baseball. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, Saturday morning, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel.
It's important to remember the value of taking time for ourselves to do the things that help us grow and explore, like learning something new. And now with the Great Courses Plus, it's never been easier to experience the joys of learning. The Great Courses Plus offers thousands of streaming videos that cover hundreds of fascinating topics, from World War II to choosing the perfect wine. You can even take a course on the U.S. government or dealing with stress and anxiety. And because the Great Courses Plus partners with world-class professors and experts, you're always receiving thoroughly vetted, high-quality content from every lecture. Plus, you can watch or listen anytime, anywhere with the Great Courses Plus app. So take a little time for you. Sign up for the Great Courses Plus today for a free month of unlimited access. Visit thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio to get started. That's thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio.
Hey, Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Magee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. We were here for every great moment last October, bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Join the Armchair Quarterback Show for its 9th season. And this year, we're doing it all in one show. Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, we'll be talking college football, the SEC, the Big Ten, other big games of the day. We'll be diving into the National Football League, focusing on the Southern football teams and all the big matchups throughout the land, and doing it while covering the point spreads, the over-unders, the prop bets, fantasy football. We'll tell you who to start and who to sit, and everybody's favorite, the stupid underdog picks. We'll cover Major League Baseball all the way through October and beyond. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, Saturday mornings on Armchair Quarterback's YouTube channel.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
Lager, the beer that brought the forest down.
I drive an exotic imported sports car. I eat exotic foreign food like frankfurters and pizza. But when it comes to numbing my mind, I'm a patriot. I drink the beer that brought the forest down. I'm a lager man. And with the new 80-bottle trunk pack, you've got enough for the evening. Hey, it's happy hour somewhere.
Lager brings out the patriot in you.
Hey, Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Magee, and I'll be bringing you Braves baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, for all of Braves country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves country baseball, first pitch to last pitch, all season long, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Join the Armchair Quarterback Show for its 9th season. And this year, we're doing it all in one show. Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, we'll be talking college football, the SEC, the Big Ten, other big games of the day. We'll be diving into the National Football League, focusing on the Southern football teams and all the big matchups throughout the land, and doing it while covering the point spreads, the over-unders, the prop bets, fantasy football. We'll tell you who to start and who to sit, and everybody's favorite, the stupid underdog picks. We'll cover Major League Baseball all the way through October and beyond. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, Saturday mornings on Armchair Quarterback's YouTube channel.
Make contact. A collective psychosis is sweeping the nation. We're in the thick of the haze craze, and Elysian is introducing an altered state of IPA. Contact Haze is a tangled chemistry of mild haze, low bitterness, and an explosion of hop aroma. This hazy IPA bursts with notes of bright raspberry, currant, citrus, guava, and passion fruit. Available in 6-pack cans in stores. Make contact.
All right, ladies. There's only one spot left in my fantasy football league and 2 of you.
Why don't we flip a coin?
I prefer a more old-fashioned approach. 2 of you walked into this room, but only one's walking out. No, I was kidding. No, I was kidding. Tom, you're in the league. Bill, you're insane.
Armchair.
Join the Armchair Quarterback Show for its 9th season. And this year, we're doing it all in one show. Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, we'll be talking college football, the SEC, the Big Ten, other big games of the day. We'll be diving into the National Football League, focusing on the Southern football teams and all the big matchups throughout the land, and doing it while covering the point spreads, the over-unders, the prop bets, fantasy football. We'll tell you who to start and who to sit, and everybody's favorite, the stupid underdog picks. We'll cover Major League Baseball all the way through October and beyond. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, Saturday mornings on Armchair Quarterback's YouTube channel. You're listening to Armchair QB South. Please like and subscribe today. Find us on Facebook and Twitter, Armchair Quarterback South, giving a Southern voice to the world of sports.
Armchair.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Armchair.
YouTube Live, CBS Sports Radio Station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station? It's everything.
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good afternoon, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good afternoon, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. Down in Florida, they love the governor. And from now on, that's all I'm going to refer to him as, the governor.
Hi, I'm Magee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. The NBA did not play yesterday because they said they were voting. I want verification. I better not find a bunch of Instagrams of them kicking it at the club if they all took the day off yesterday.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man with a groove in his teeth. Yeah, the armchair.
Yeah, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Magee alongside Justin Waller. Justin, how the hell are you?
Depends on how much longer this crypto bloodbath goes on. Goodness gracious, somebody throw the towel in. And if you haven't seen it, don't look up any of your stocks. Your cryptos.
Why? What's going on?
Your bloodbath. Deals, baby, deals. If you've been waiting for a time to buy, today is the dip. Apparently, the FTX deal fell through, and little rival on rival annihilation, and FTX is no more. Doesn't look like Binance is going to save them, and it has just sent the market in full tilt. And you can buy Bitcoin at some pretty good lows. You can buy everything at a great discount right now. I'm not getting paid for this ad either.
Yeah, I don't know what FTX means, but I haven't really done crypto in a while. So
they're a platform that they were the number 2 largest platform, and they went down and had liquidity issues. And well, there was a bull run overnight, and wow.
Okay.
Hard knock life being a crypto trader.
Yeah, I've got mine in, real stocks nowadays. I got out of that crypto junk because it's too volatile for my blood. That's the short of it. I know the market crashed today. Didn't even want to realistically look at it, but
I'm not gonna look.
Yeah.
Just keep buying.
Yeah, I just looked at it and was like, oof. Yeah, I am not paying attention to that for a while. That is hot garbage. Thanks for putting me on suicide watch.
Hey, just DCA, baby. Just DCA right now. Some good deals. Just dollar cost average.
Yeah. Anyways, not good deals if you got money in them and you've lost that money. So anyways.
You've lost nothing yet until you sell. Remember that, folks.
Well, true. And there's no way in hell I'm selling. Not after what I just saw. They're not tricking me. Not again.
Well.
Not again. They have in the past. They will not do it again. But I figure that when the House goes red, and it looks like the Senate may stay blue anyways, it's usually good for the market for the two to be split. So that is encouraging news there on that front.
All right, enough about that.
I did watch the president maneuver his way through his press conference and tap dance and whatnot. I still think, and look, this is not a political talk show, so I really don't want to talk about this crap, but I still think there's a very good chance that ex-Heisman Trophy winner Herschel Walker gets in. He's going to do a runoff, and he closed the gap quite a bit. I was reading on social media, a lot of the folks were who were left, they were excited about the runoff and saying that Warnock would win because he won last time. But I think it's a different animal this time. But anyways, we'll move on. No one gives a crap about that. It really is just more depressing than it is anything else. Moving on.
Yeah,
On
that's the
to
last thing I
real
want to talk about.
topics
Bulldogs
that matter in this world. How about those college football rankings that have come out? And you've got to be pleasantly surprised with Tennessee still hanging around in there.
Say, looking pretty good from where I'm sitting. I've got no qualms. Ohio State and Michigan have to play each other. Texas is a 7-point favorite at home against TCU this weekend. So we'll see how that plays out. And hey, they might be right back in the thick of it. So 2-touchdown loss on the road to the defending national champion. It's not all doom and gloom. So the playoff rankings I told you were bogus when you went in. Until Florida loses, in my mind, they were the number one team. Thought it was disrespect to put Tennessee at number one anyway, and Georgia played with a chip on its shoulder like they were disrespected, and rightfully so. They've got that number one now, and it's going to be theirs, rightfully so, until someone beats them, which should have been the entire time. Don't care if it was the first week of the show or not, or the playoff ranking, excuse me, not the show, but they probably still do an hour-long drag on to release those anyway.
Yeah. So when you look at those actual rankings, and you've got it's Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, is it Michigan 3?
Yes.
And
TCU
then
4.
TCU 4, which is where they should be.
It's the 4 undefeated teams in the nation. Fair enough.
Right. And then number 5, is that Tennessee?
There's Tennessee.
Okay. So in all likelihood, if Tennessee wins out, they would get in. Now, there's a couple of things that could happen that could knock that out of whack. But it would take a lot. It would take like a really close loss between Michigan and Ohio State, and the winner go on and win their league, and TCU run the table. That could be the part that could get Tennessee on the outside looking in, but I don't think that's going to happen. Right after the game on Saturday, I had some friends text me, and my biggest thing was, dude, relax. Yeah. You've got one loss. You've got, the more important thing is you have a lot of good wins, and there's still a month of football to be played. We've got, what is today? The 9th. So we've got the weekend of the 12th, 19th, 26th, and then conference championship weekend. So there's still 4 Saturdays left. And I don't think Tennessee's going to lose any of their games. They played, I mean, let's be honest, Cupcake City. Now, could that hurt them at the end because of the optics? Yes, but I don't think it will because of who they've played earlier in the season. I would like to see them mix that up towards the end, like in future years, especially when we start talking about the college football playoffs and the 12 team and da. I would like for them to get one team at the tail end of November that's a decent enough SEC rival to keep momentum going, right? Because Tennessee dealt with this back. Now it's a different situation now, but back in the BCS days, and the one year they did win the national title, that was great. But in the other years when they would lose, they could never get back in it because beating up on Vanderbilt is not going to impress anybody on that final weekend. And I don't know if you got any ideas on who you would like to have it pushed to. Obviously, it won't be Georgia or Florida, but I mean,
and it can't be Alabama. So, I mean, you're just going to have to change some dates. Maybe you do push Georgia back.
I mean,
it's only fair because I want to keep the tradition of the Florida. It's usually the third game of the season. Traditionally, it is. There's been quirks with week 0 where it's not, but that's traditionally where it is. 2 warm-ups and find out where you stack up in the East. Tennessee and Florida are going to lock horns, and well, that used to be how it was. This year's first time I've had that win, so it's the first time I felt that in a long time. So,
yeah,
I would like to see it spread out. I'm interested with the new mix, how the SEC is going to lay out once Texas and Oklahoma do finally come in, and are we going to just a universal round robin where it's just going to rotate and you play through, or we're going to have divisions and realignment? Because that's where it's really going to get interesting, who they slide where and what makes that decision.
That would be fun, is if at the end of the season, if they start having the teams play more, because there's been talk about them expanding one more SEC game, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would be fun, and I mean really fun, would be Tennessee, Texas to end the season every year. Who's the real UT, all that stuff that you could build into it. And there's nothing really stopping it, because Texas doesn't really have a traditional end of the season rivalry. They used to a degree, but it all got banged out when they left the Big 8. Since they've been in the Big 12, I think they tend to play.
That's going to go back to Arkansas, is it not?
It's changed so many times. But I guess my point is, Texas and Oklahoma will always be in October because they've got the state fair, right? So I would love to see Tennessee versus Texas, the real UT, to be the end of the season, because when you get in it towards the end, and I'm talking about in a few years when they expand the playoffs, and I'm referring to a season when Tennessee's not playing very well, to as far as where you look like they're going to be a shoe-in. Because if you have a 12 games slate right now, or 12 team slate, they're a shoe-in, right? But I'm talking about in a season where they might have, let's say, 2 or 3 losses, right? Beating Texas in the final season, or the final week of the season, if you're not going to make the SEC title game that year, that could get you over the hump. As opposed to, what if Clemson and South Carolina are both having pretty decent years and they play each other and one of them wins, and the committee goes, we're going to put them in. So I think Tennessee, Texas would be a great answer to that, because they've talked about going 9.
Yeah, but I'm also playing Florida, Georgia, and Alabama every year, so I'm a little hesitant to sign up for that one as well. But yeah, I mean, I do like it, and maybe you flip it around and you front load that schedule.
You no longer have to go undefeated. I'm just saying that the outsider looking at it is going to say, dude, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Missouri, most years it's a very weak schedule. And then they got to play Florida and Georgia, and you hope that they're both good. But what about if they hit the skids? And then, of course, Alabama.
Is A&M going to be their traditional rival at the end of the year, Texas A&M, or are they going to go back to the Texas Arkansas?
They used to be, but the problem with that might be is there's some bad blood between those universities. They may not be willing to do that. And I just think it's a natural, fun crossover rivalry, Tennessee versus Texas. And then you could put, because it just sucks, man. Let's be honest. Vanderbilt does not belong in Division I college football. it's not a real.
Not arguing with you on that, but I mean, we don't have any other in-state. Right? What are we going to do? Play Memphis?
I mean, honestly, it's more impressive if you beat Memphis or MTSU on most years. But there's not a true rivalry, and that's what sucks about the whole
Well,
thing.
traditionally, I mean, it used to be we had Kentucky at the end, and you had the whiskey barrel, and it meant something, but that hasn't been relevant.
Even that was never the end of the season. It was normally with about 2, maybe 3 weeks to go. It's always Vanderbilt, and it's like what in our lifetime. You can probably count on maybe 3 fingers how many times Vanderbilt's been impressive enough where if you beat them, that people go, huh. And now it's like, if you don't beat them by 5 touchdowns and everyone's going to go, oh, what's wrong? So I don't know. I would just like for them to figure that out. Because you can't rely on an out of conference one unless you get one that I'm not thinking of, that you get them signed up and go, let's play every single year.
Let's just move Alabama to the end.
Florida play. And
you can't mess with Alabama, Auburn. You can't push them back. You can't push Florida back because of Florida State. So, yeah, I guess you're going to have to go call out one of them out west. If you want that big game, that big signature win at the end of the slate, or leave that as it would be crazy, but that could be your big out of conference game. Leave you a big daddy at the end.
Even if it wasn't like a traditional quote unquote like powerhouse, but what if it's someone who's pretty good every year, like UCLA? Well,
UCLA, Notre Dame, that feels a little safer.
But what about you can't do Washington because of Washington State. You can't. I'll tell you one who doesn't have one that I feel is a traditional natural rivalry. We spend every year bitching about on our Saturday morning show, why is Penn State and Michigan State playing the last game of the season? It's because it's like musical chairs. All the music stopped and they go, well, I guess I have to play you because Michigan's playing Ohio State and they're all paired up. Penn State would be a fun one.
I really thought Penn State and Pitt probably locked horns, and I did not know that wasn't.
Yeah, it's always, I don't know if it changed this year, but for at least, we'll say 25 of the last 27 years, it's always Penn State versus Michigan State.
Yeah,
I don't think I don't think they lined it up on 2020 because of the goofy stuff that was going on.
Here's a good geographical one. Let's go get West Virginia.
West Virginia would be a fun one. Virginia Tech, except Virginia Tech plays Virginia. I don't think West Virginia has a traditional rival that they play at
maybe end. Or you go West Virginia, and you take Virginia Tech and Knoxville, because that would be a great one right there. If you could put the distance in between them two schools would be phenomenal. But I like the West Virginia one.
What if you do West Virginia in the NASCAR track
up at Bristol? Yeah,
up Bristol. Every just do like Florida, Georgia. Every damn year do West Virginia. That could be a fun one.
I like that better than Texas. I'm glad we talked this up. It's hard. I mean, I do want to have the Battle of Orange more often, and I'm excited to have them come in here because it's just been a lifelong jabbing between me and Texas fans. And, it is the proverbial who's got the right color orange and the right shape tee. So who's the true UT?
And, if they weren't already locked into their own home state, and that's the problem, is that most of them already have a traditional rivalry. But man, like an Oregon one would be fun, right? Something where you get, because the other thing you got to look at too is if you can get further and further away. That's why I was suggesting Texas, because if you can get further away, you can help out on your recruiting trail. And so I don't know how much you're going to help out your recruiting about dominating West Virginia, because they're not typically tip top. With Pennsylvania, with Penn State, or Pittsburgh, because I'll tell you what, that's been a pretty good damn little mini rival we've had the couple of years. That would be fun. Pittsburgh. I would be looking somewhere that is a traditional power high school bed. So we're talking about Pennsylvania, Ohio, but that's out. California. even if you're just on the West Coast somewhere close enough to California to get people's eyes. I don't, you know what, to be honest with you, I don't think Syracuse has a traditional one that I can think of. I mean, I'm sure they play someone every year at the end, but I can't. And that would be a fun one too, because you'd get the New York area. Anyways, we'll move on from that. But I thought the college football rankings were interesting enough to go ahead and talk about them for a few minutes. Moving on. Major League Baseball free agency starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. And it doesn't look like Mr. Dansby Swanson is going to be signed by then. Let me go ahead and share the screen.
Can I share my wish list before it hits? So if I hit it right, it's better than the Powerball. I want Lopez and Bieber. You have any objections?
Justin Bieber and George Lopez?
Yep. Be great comedy and music.
I saw they're bringing the show back.
It was an interesting commercial, by the way. Speaking of that show, that isn't.
Well, the first that they're going to have to do is they're going to have to get the shortstop thing figured out, right? And this is the list of the predominant shortstops.
But isn't Grissom a natural shortstop? Didn't he slide over to second for Albies?
Who?
Was it Grissom? The youngster played second base for Albie that came up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in theory, he could be. You're right. In theory. Yeah. But
I believe that's his natural position. But I mean, I don't know if we saw enough that you're going to go let Lieutenant Dan leave.
He struggled quite a bit down the stretch. And I don't think I think the talent is definitely there. I think it's obvious. But I think they would rather have him spell Ozzie and Dansby or whoever plays shortstop, and then also get some, because they were working him in, not during games, but they were working him in some left field situations, and kind of have him kind of move around, right? That would be the best case scenario. He might even start the year down in the minors just so he gets at bats. But these are obviously the top four right here. I'm going to highlight them. Those four right there are obviously the top four. Turner, Correa, Bogarts, and Dansby. I'm going to go ahead and already eliminate Turner, and I'm going to tell you why. They're not giving out the hip $300 million for this guy. And I think that's about what it's going to take. I would be shocked, because if they do that, the first thing everyone's going to cry, they're going to, why couldn't you sign Dansby? Right? So the rumor that I'm hearing, the biggest, and this comes from the Atlanta Braves journalists, follow about 5 of them. Here's the name that they keep saying if we don't get Dansby, and obviously that's who I want. I want Dansby. He's got youth on his side. He plays great defense. And I think it's going to become imperative that you have a good defender, okay? Because now that they're getting rid of the shift, bags are going to be a little bigger. You're going to need someone up the middle that could scoop and flip it. Here's the guy that I'm hearing that they have their eyes on if they can't sign Dansby. This guy right here, Xander Bogaerts. I would be shocked, because I think Boston's going to back the truck up, and I don't think we're going to outbid Boston. But what would your thought process be on that number, by the way, that y'all are seeing off to the right? It's their age and then their WAR combined the last 2 years. And just to give folks an idea of what's considered a good WAR for, a top echelon player in Major League Baseball on a everyday player is about a 4 to 5 WAR. That's considered really good. So you see where Dansby is at 9.7. The other guys are over 10. That means that all 4 of them are really good, right? And it takes everything into consideration. It takes their batting, their defense, et cetera, et cetera. What is your thought process? If we don't get Dansby, would you be rooting for Xander, or would you rather have Correa? Because I just don't think Trey Turner is a real possibility.
Right. Correa, would probably be my choice. And I'm going that way. Aside from the cheating scandal, him and Altuve have been where I've loved that middle infield ever since they built it. I like the 28. If I can't land that, I'm honestly looking for a discount. I don't want to get older and go to Xander. If I am for that kind of money, I'm just going to go step back and take a deal. Let's see what Grissom can do. And why don't we go right or wrong and go get me that defensive shortstop that you said and go get me Simba. I don't care about the bat at this point. I want the defense. Go get me Andrelton Simmons on a deal and go get me some arms.
So, like, let's say we don't get any of the top four, right? And we need someone who's going to hold down shortstop, but they can maybe platoon. If it's a 1 year cheap deal kind of thing, I wouldn't be against Didi Gregorius or Marwin Gonzalez. I know it looked like that they lost their bats, or even a Strange Gordon, who still has a lot of speed, because all three of those guys are all left-handed batters. And so I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I want to see arms this offseason for the Atlanta Braves. I want to see it.
I love the idea of Xander because of the offense, but I will say this. I don't hate your Correa idea because he is so flawless on defense. When we played them in the World Series last year, that's the most I've ever watched Correa play. He effortlessly throws balls across the diamond right at the first baseman's glove. It felt like every play. And I mean, in a New York minute, that thing gets there. It's just, most of the other shortstops you see around the league, it's a very, boom. And you're like, man, that dude's got an arm. With Correa, it's like zip, pop. And you're like, that dude's got a different kind of arm.
And it's chest high in the letters. And we talked about that a long time at third base. It's great that you want a third baseman that can sling it and hit you right in the letters. But to be on the move and be a shortstop and pull that off, that's phenomenal, because more often than not, you talk about the play that the first baseman made in those the big save, but you don't have those with Correa. He hits them right in the numbers, to your point.
The only thing that concerns me about circling Correa is that they keep saying that Minnesota is very interested in signing him to a long-term deal. Now, I'm a little surprised they haven't gotten something done, because they had first rights until 4:00 tomorrow, but maybe Correa wants to see what the market is out there. With him being 28, you're going to have to pony up, right? And I think you're going to have to pay more than you would Dansby, but you're not going to have to pay as much as you would Turner. If you go Bogarts, I think you can get him in there on a 4 to 5 year deal. I think Correa, Turner, and maybe even Dansby, we're talking 7 years. Dansby, you might be able to get on 5 or 6. But I think Correa at 28 and Trey Turner, who's looked upon as the elite, I think he can hell, Trey Turner might get somewhere between 8 and 10. But I really don't want to go Turner, because as good as he is and a phenomenal baseball player, it's like you said, man, I'd like to see him get some arms. And I really don't like the idea of putting all of our eggs in one little basket. We've signed all these other guys to really good deals. And so it does give you some freedom to sign. If they really wanted to, they could probably pony up and go out and grab a Trey Turner, but then it would handcuff the Braves for the next 3 years until they get out of their terrible deal with Bally Sports. So I don't know. It's interesting. Let's go. So let's talk about the pitchers. I think they're at the top. No, they're at the bottom. Okay, let me see here. So if we go pitchers, you get to, by the way, this one right here is interesting to me. For an outfielder / DH, I think you can get him at a very decent price. And this guy is still a very elite batter. JT Martinez.
Oh, are you saying we're going to upgrade our DH?
Well, I think
you sign me up for that.
Dump them. You just try to dump them. You might have to chew on it and eat most of the damn. But I don't think he's coming back one way or the other.
I hope he doesn't.
I just think they're like, man, dude, you couldn't put him in the lineup down the stretch, and he's a designated hitter. You can't put him in the lineup. What the hell can you do with him? You almost have to just look at it as a guy that has Tommy John surgery for the next 2 years. Whatever, man, he's gone. It is what it is. But starting pitchers, this is where the rubber meets the road. Here are the top ones. Well, I consider these three guys above average compared to the rest, right? Shorten that.
I would agree.
So Carlos Rodon, who's 30, Kershaw, who's 35, and probably isn't leaving LA. If he leaves LA, I think he would go to the Rangers because he's from Texas. But I don't even look at Clayton Kershaw as an option for us. So when I have them highlighted, I would really like to just eliminate Kershaw and just talk about Rodon and Jacob deGrom. With Rodon, I think you can get a much lower AAV, but I think he's looking for a long-term deal. I think he's looking at it as this is his last time to really make a splash. He's got a full off season. A lot of these guys signed these 1-year deals that they could opt out of because of the whole lockout situation last year when they had, what the hell was it, like 3 weeks to be able to sign basically 75% of the league. Which one are you more in favor of, Rodon, the hard throwing lefty, or Jacob deGrom, who's just looked upon as the elite of elite? That's amazing that his WAR is 7.1, considering how little he's pitched the last 2 years.
That's a tough one. Everything in me says go deGrom, but I look at the 35 and I say you go Rodon. That's probably my choice. I don't think you get a swing at deGrom. I don't know that did they actually let him walk?
So I listen to New York radio almost every morning, and I swear their tune changes every damn morning. They go from saying that everyone around the camp says deGrom wants out of New York to quoting a couple of players recently that said, no, man, he loves it here. He's coming back. As long as they give him his number, he's coming back. So I don't know what the hell to believe. I don't know if deGrom's lying to them because you don't want to tell that to your buddies as you're playing, right? Hey, dude, by the way, I'm out of here as soon as this damn thing ends. As soon as we get done choking this division away, I'm getting the hell out of here. I know one thing. If deGrom does leave, can he please go to anywhere? If it's not the Atlanta, can he go anywhere into the American League?
I hope he just hops Burrows. That would be amazing.
I would love for the two of them to hop Burrows. How pissed off they'd be at each other if Aaron Judge Judge goes to the Mets and deGrom goes to the Yankees. Let's go.
That's what I want to see.
That's probably what the Yankees need. The Yankees, if they were smart and they wanted to spend big money, they should save the money on Judge because they put runs on the board, and they should go get deGrom and Rodon and say, let's go chase down the Astros.
Yeah.
As long as that's their starting rotation, Yankees ain't beating anybody.
I mean, if I get to place Judge anywhere, I want him in one of two places. If he's going to leave the Yankees, I want him in Boston or I want him on the Mets. I want him in one of the two just because I want to see it.
Well, I really want him in the American League because I damn sure don't want him in the NL East. I'm tired of all these big names going to the National League East. Go, great, we get to see this jackass for the next 10 years, like Bryce Harper and couple of others that have been rumored to possibly go to the Mets. The Mets, by the way, I did see a rumor recently that they are in on the Trey Turner talks. What a nightmare that would be. I guess that would mean Turner would go back to second base, but I don't think he really cares. Everyone made some big deal about he's not going to go back. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's what he did when he went to the Dodgers, and when he first came up years ago, he was a second baseman. He don't give a damn what position he plays, because I'll tell you what, that money's going to hit his bank account the same, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame just the same. So let's eliminate those guys and say, all right, we struck out. Let's say we get Dansby Swanson, and we're not going to get a big ticket pitcher. Here's the next list of guys that I think are on the next tier. There's a few below them that you could say possibly, but these guys are really on the next tier. The most interesting one is Justin Verlander, because it looks like he's going to win the American League Cy Young. But at the same token, as dominant as he was in the regular season, man, they got to his ass in the playoffs. And you wonder what a 40-year-old, and he's making it sound like I really think it's very important to Justin Verlander to chase down 300 wins. And he's at least 3-4 years away from, getting to that realistically. Do you want to give a big AAV to a 40-year-old who will be 41 next October?
I do not. I'm surprised with your list. I mean, I'm not knocking your list, but I don't think the Braves are going to pony up the big players. A lot of these. Evaldi's the one that interests me there out of this list. Obviously, Verlander does, but again, the age bothers me. And then what does he have left? He just got his ring. Or, well, not his only one, but.
Yeah. I mean, oh, Lord, he's much further away than I thought he was. He's at 244 wins. They were talking about how big it is for him in his eyes to get to 300 wins, man. I don't know if that's possible. Took you to the age. Now, they're saying here that he hasn't turned 40 till February.
He's going to have to go to the Dodgers or somebody and beat up on the AL East or the AL West or NL West.
I guess these ages we're looking at is maybe by the time the season starts next year. So he's technically 39, turning 40 in February. But if it took you to the age of 40 to get to 244 wins, man, I'll tell you what, the way today's game is, you're lucky if you get 15 a year. That's like 4 more years of 15-win ball. Age 44, still slinging and getting. I don't think that 300 is possible. I mean, when I heard that commentary,
Brady ain't got no problem with it.
Brady all saying out there trying to chuck the ball. Well, I'll tell you what he does now. If he was chasing down 20 more wins in his career, you'd be like, I don't know if you're gonna get to it, baby boy. You probably shouldn't have lost. I mean, won last Sunday. I don't know. That's. Of all the starting pitchers that are on that list, that's in the next tier, the one to me that's most interesting, but I don't know how much he's expecting, how long of it, is this guy right here, because he has been very good for Texas. He's flying on the radar. He's a lefty. Be good to have another lefty in the lineup, and he eats innings. But I don't know if it seems like he's going to get a type of deal, like a 3-4 year deal for a decent AAV that someone's going to try to, someone who's much further away than Atlanta is going to try to make that work, like a Seattle, right? Looking at the rest of the guys, I mean, there's 1-year wonders that you can throw money at, the Syndergaards, maybe even Carrasco. Not this guy. I can tell you right now, the Jake Odorizzi experiment is over.
Yeah, that one's done.
Syndergaard, Mike Minor, there's guys that you can get in there that you could possibly put into the bullpen come October, but could eat some innings.
I didn't see them on there, but Shane Bieber and Javier Lopez nowhere on your list, or maybe you scrolled past them and I missed them.
Bieber's a free agent, as far as I know.
Well, their trade deadline, they've got control. So, no, you are correct. I'm just saying there are trade chips that have been rumored out there that Marlins are out past Alcantara to release and put anybody up. So, I was just taking it from the aspect of and what the Guardians had to offer. Those are two there.
I did see that they were trying to trade him very recently.
Before the deadline, the Yankees were really interested, and just it fell through, didn't fall through.
Well, evidently the damn Marlins wanted too much, so it makes you wonder what they're going to want, and what are they going to want from a in-division rival, right? Now, this is the other one that's going to be interesting because we're going to have to piece together our bullpen because we lose Kenley Jansen. I don't think they're going to re-sign him because Rossiel Iglesias is going to be assumed as the closer, right? And so we take Kenley Jansen off the list because I think he's going to want to go close somewhere. I seriously doubt that guy because I think he wants to build his resume towards Canton. I mean, not Canton. Oh God, what the hell? I've got the wrong sport in my head.
I'm trying to help you, but I keep escaping me right
now. Hell, I was there 3 years.
Cooperstown.
Well, yeah, Cooperstown, yeah. So I think he's going to want to go somewhere where he's the closer. And I just don't think that Atlanta's going to pay him closer money. Craig Kimbrell's interesting. So he had such a bad end to the season. This past season, he wasn't even on the playoff roster. But I think he's going to want to be a closer. Taylor Rogers, I've always thought that he was a one-pitch wonder. He's got a goofy release. I don't like him. But if you're talking about building the back of your bullpen, first of all, I want to get this guy signed ASAP.
So get Jesse Chavez.
Get him because he gonna eat them innings. And then when you look at the rest of the guys that are available, like nothing really is jumping out at me that really. Michael Fulmer is an interesting one. Chris Martin, he has seen better days. Adam Ottavino, he always seems to be overpaid. Now he's 37 years old. I'm not sold on him. I think Boxberger might get picked up on his club option. Whistler would be an interesting one because he's coming off the injury and you probably get him for a really good deal. And he's only 30 years old. See if there's any other names.
Oh, you got to get Magee.
He was really good a couple years ago and then had some injuries and came back. If they could get him on a decent deal, he's a crafty ass lefty, and we're not going to have Tyler Matzik next year because of the Tommy John, right? So you've got Mentor, but what are you going to do about him?
Robertson had some good innings first half of the year. That's one on a cheap deal that David Robertson could be in play.
Robertson, yeah. What about David Price? That's a guy who can come in and do 2 innings for you. Now, I don't know what he's willing to pitch for now because I'm trying to remember. Did he retire?
Oh, did you purposely leave your mouse on Luke Jackson? I hope you did.
Well, Luke Jackson's going to come back, and I think the Braves. I really think the Braves are going to. I think they're going to sign him. Something happened with him recently. Maybe it was just because they left him off the roster. Maybe he didn't retire. But he would be interesting if he's going to come back because he's still 36, so a reliever can still do it at that age. I don't know. Some of these other guys, you can't expect a lot. And I also think that Atlanta's going to do most of their bullpen stuff. They've got some good young arms in their system that they'll try to bring up. And, of course, they'll try to piece it together at the deadline. What about Will Smith? We're going to bring Will Smith back.
I'm like, how many of these are these look like half of our entire bullpen the past 4 years?
Oldest Chapman. It'll be interesting to see who goes after him. Because it looks like he's lost it. Anyways, we can move on from that and get back to some football talk. But I thought it'd be interesting because since we only meet up once a week to be able to talk some damn free agency, I am planning on starting the Braves Country Today podcast back. It'll be starting Basically, when some Braves news breaks, we'll go ahead and start it. I'm not just gonna give everyone an update. Hey, we hanging out, ain't not a damn thing going on. So
when we trade for Ohtani is when we'll start the show.
I saw
there's a DH upgrade.
I saw it. I think it was Athletic. I don't remember who it was, but anyways, someone has a doomsday article basically saying that the Angels are stuck with Ohtani because they can't trade him without bringing back a haul, and no one wants to give a haul for one guy. And if they trade him, it's going to be.
Would you take Marcell Ozuna in that haul?
God, can't.
Would you? Would you?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, would you? And Dansby.
You
what
take
else?
him, we take Ohtani, and we're going to give you some damn dudes. We're going to give you some.
I'll give you a lot of dudes.
We're going to give you some Grissams. We're going to give you some other dudes. We're not going to give you any of these guys that we've already locked up long term, because that's just stupid. But man, you talking about helping your situation instantly. Adding yourself
one player.
One dude shores up your DH situation. He can play some outfield if need be. He goes straight to the top of your rotation. We would go to what I've been kind of pushing for a while is a 6-man rotation, because it seems like he only wants to pitch once a week. I'm fine with that. If that means that that's going to let Max Fried not get injured down the line, I'm fine with it. That means
you do get Soroka back next season. You get to stretch him out, keep his innings low.
You put him on a 3-inning, 4-inning cap for the first 3 months of the season, and you stretch him out going towards October, and he's only pitches once a week. Let's go. Let's make it happen. I don't know what the parameters next year will be. Typically, it was supposed to be with 26 guys. It was supposed to be a 13 and 13, meaning pitchers and batters. I don't know if that'll be back to normal or what they'll do, but if that's the case, you can, why can't you, some of those older relievers we were talking about that were starters, you could sign some of them to cheap deals to be able to come in and spell some innings for guys. So that when you go in a game in the middle of June that's not that important and you're trailing by 3 runs, you can go in and throw a David Price in there and he can go eat 3 innings and you can save the back end of your bullpen for another day. All right, let's go ahead and go to our 6-pack to go. Going to try to find, let me do this real quick. Get the, here we go. All right. First of all, real quick, I do want to talk about, I guess I'll put the NFL on real quick. What the hell are what are the Colts doing? Jeff Saturday? What the hell are they doing?
Well, I mean, it's a tried and true tradition. If you just lay down the entire season, sometimes you look into guys called, oh, excuse me. They got Manning first. They lucked into Luck the second time. So, I mean, you go Manning, Luck. It's tried and true. Just do it one more time and they'll get their pick of the litter.
I made the joke today when the news broke that that they had officially signed and are bringing Dusty Baker back for next year because they didn't know if he was going to retire. I said, well, the Astros had no other choice because once Jeff Saturday was signed, you kind of have to start just grasping at straws.
I mean, Pat McAfee could have come back for the Colts.
Jeez. What the hell? This guy is the only thing he's ever done is coach high school football, and he ain't done that in 3 seasons. He's just going to walk in, and it's not even during a bye week. He's going to walk in on a Tuesday morning after being on ESPN for the last several months. By the way, someone dug up a video of him trashing the Las Vegas Raiders just last week, saying they are not a good football team, and basically was saying that, they were a clown show. And guess who the Indianapolis Colts travel to this weekend? And that is going to be on the board. They're going to be playing that video over and over. I mean, he's just trashing the damn Raiders. This knucklehead, I'm telling you right now, I couldn't get to the window fast enough to take the Raiders this weekend. Like, are you insane? This guy cannot come in. Why the hell? So John Fox is on their staff. Why the hell couldn't John Fox just be your
interim? Yeah.
Because you've already handcuffed anybody from doing anything because you won't let Matt Ryan play because you don't want to get hit with that $19 million bonus that he has sitting in his contract if he plays X amount of games and gets injured. We talked about that, I think, last week.
I think it's just shenanigans. I think it needs to be addressed. You've seen it multiple times.
Oh,
I mean,
Irsay is just a drunken dumbass is what he is.
I'm glad you said it. I was thinking it.
Dude,
I was thinking it word for word.
I saw that the other day and I was just like, so full disclosure, I had some health issues last week, which is why we didn't have the show on Saturday. Had really, really bad mouth pain last week. In fact, when we were doing the show last week, I was in excruciating pain. I kind of, hit it, didn't let anybody know, but I mean, it was just a pounding pain. Right. So anyways, I end up going to the doctor. Long story short, won't get into all the details. I think he put me on some pain pills. And when the news broke about Jeff Saturday, I was on said pain pills. I was like, man, this is some strong stuff. Because I could have swore they just said some jackass who's never coached in the NFL, not at any level in the NFL. He's never been a coordinator. He's never even been like, what do they call it? Quality insurance. He's never been any of that. I could have swore they just said he was taking over the Indianapolis Colts. That can't be right. I need to go lay down, sleep this one off.
He was a center for a long time. And that's qualifications to lead the Indianapolis Colts, I guess.
I wonder how many times people are going to pull up that damn video that I've seen over the years of Peyton Manning screaming at him on the sidelines, telling him basically just block and shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about.
The last time he played head coach, Peyton just rips him.
And like when he was a head coach in high school football, it was for his son's team. Wasn't like he built some tradition like the dude at Riverdale did years back. I forget what was his name, Rankin?
Gary Rankin.
Yeah. It wasn't Gary Rankin. It wasn't like he didn't build like some high school football powerhouse. God bless. I mean, you're in Indiana. I say you'd be better off putting Bobby Knight as your damn head coach. I don't know what the hell that.
I mean, they are only outdone by the Lions and Raiders right now, correct? As far as schedule.
What's that about the Lions?
Texans are the one-loss team, correct?
Yeah.
Or one-win team. I'm sorry.
Right.
Okay. So they need a lot of help because the Raiders have 2 wins, soon to have 3.
Are you suggesting that they are?
Absolutely, I'm not suggesting it. I'm straight out saying it.
They're tanking?
Absolutely.
Now, wait a minute. Colts have 3 wins. Raiders have 2 wins.
About to be 3. Thanks to Jeff Saturday.
Lions
have 2.
Lions have 2.
Mm-hmm.
Jaguars just got another win, so they got 3. I'm trying to scroll through this real quick without having to change.
Yeah. I mean, they need a little bit of help, but what else are they doing? That tie is going to come up big.
The Houston Texans have 1.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely need a quarterback. The Raiders I would assume they will win today or win Sunday. So they will have the tiebreaker on the Raiders for a higher pick. And then, like you said, Detroit. So Detroit and the Panthers have 2 wins. The Colts have 3. Texans have 1. Jaguars have 3, but they're not really in for a quarterback as we speak. Pittsburgh would be the other team. But yeah, they definitely have a good chance of
And the Texans and Colts will play each other. So, there's a lay down that in a sense they can hand one off. And I believe their first game of the season was the one tie. I believe those were the two teams that did tie, Colts and Texans first week.
Real quick, before we hit our look at where's their schedule at? Here we go. All right. Real quick. Win or loss at Vegas.
Loss.
Philadelphia. Pittsburgh.
I'll just tell you when I see a win. Bye week 14. I don't. Week 18. And you have to think they're at least playing for a tie again, if not trying to hand them a win at that point.
Yeah, and Houston might be benching all their players.
That could be the ugliest game of the year.
They got a tough damn schedule down the stretch, too. Now, Pittsburgh could be a win, but I believe in Jeff Saturday. I think he'll find a way to lose that one. All right, let's go ahead and get to it because we're coming up on time. Our 6-pack to go. Where Justin and I both picked 3 games. We go back and forth. One picks the one, and away we go. So what is your first pick on the 6-pack to go? By the way, Justin went 2-1 last week. I went 1-2. We are both 10-5 on the year. So 20-10 on the season. Pretty good.
Torn here, but I'm going to take Ole Miss plus 11.5 in the Grove with the visiting Alabama Crimson Tide. I don't by any means think they win the game. But
This year or this week, I came prepared. I have several written down. So when you nab mine, which that is one of them, I'm not sitting here going,
I tried to pick one you wouldn't go with.
All right. So I'm going to go. I might hold on to that one. Give me. Let's see. I'll go ahead and do an NFL game so I can go over to the other one. I'm sorry, NFL game. Do I only have one? Okay, I'll go ahead and take the Titans minus 2.5. They're at home against Denver, and I think Denver is just abysmal. I know they have found ways to get W's, but that might be the worst offense in modern football history, other than whatever the hell the Colts were doing last Sunday. What is your second pick?
Give me Indiana plus 39.5. I know it's in the horseshoe, but that was an ugly game against Northwestern.
Indiana plus 39.5. I'll tell you what, if you get those same wins, you could definitely get that because, man, I was watching some of that game. That win was just whipping, and both teams had no choice but to just run the damn ball.
I think it's a boat race. I think they pull the starters. I think they've got bigger things on the horizon getting ready for Michigan in 2 weeks. So it's a blowout, but 40 points is extreme.
I'm going to take this is the one that I've been looking at all week. Nebraska is getting 31 against Michigan. And I feel like Nebraska has played much better football since they fired their head coach. I'm not saying they're going to go in and beat Michigan, but I think 31 points is a lot to ask with the Nebraska team that has one of the slower they have less snaps per game than I think they're ranked in the top 20 as far as less snaps per game, meaning that they play a slow brand of football, which means it'll eat up the clock, and 31 points is a lot to ask. All right, what is your third and final pick for the 6-pack to go?
I'm going to make the state of Mississippi proud. I wish I had a cowbell right now. I'm going Mississippi State plus 16.5. Georgia on the ugly game coming off the big win. They win. They win handily, but it's probably a 14-point game. I think Mississippi State probably gives them a little bit of a game.
I like that one too, especially because
you have 16. I'll take the 16 as well. That's fair.
It's a night game, and I always feel like Mississippi State plays so much better at home at night. All right.
Explain to me Texas 7-point dogs real quick if you're not taking it as your last one. I don't understand that.
I was very, very tempted to take TCU, but there's one that I like a lot better. Texas is extremely overrated. Most years, but this year I feel like every year, every week I see them and I'm like people believe that they are like the damn 2012 Alabama Crimson Tide. And I don't see it. I don't know why. I'm not saying Texas can't win that game, but I'm not laying a touchdown.
Yeah, touchdown to number 4, undefeated TCU. That's a lot. That's the momentum for TCU right there. Seeing that you're a 7-point dog coming in on the road, it's gonna be a fun game to watch.
All right, I try to grab at least one SEC game a week. So I'm going to take South Carolina getting 8. I think they've played pretty respectable football. I know the game's in the Swamp, but first of all, it's not a night game in the Swamp. And South Carolina plays that gritty kind of football that 8 points I'm not willing to give up. So I think South Carolina can hang in there and possibly pull off the upset, but most likely probably will not. I'll tell you another game that I think has a very good chance of pulling off the upset. Is this one right here. Arkansas against LSU. They're getting 3 at home after an emotional win against Alabama, and it's a day game. It's 11 a.m. local time.
We don't typically do Monday games, but any interest in Commanders plus 11 versus Eagles divisional game?
If I was going with one or the other, I would definitely go with that. I would go with the Commanders. I don't think they're getting enough respect. I think they're a pretty decent football team. And
Agreed.
Taylor Heineke,
he's a player.
Job from him?
He's a gamer. Let the man play. I'll take him in the Titans if they won't get rid of him.
They should have won against Minnesota last week, and that was just a debacle. But yeah, I mean, I don't understand why every offseason they're going out there running around grabbing the Carson Wentz of the world. And I guess it's because he's got a stronger arm, but Taylor Heineke finds a way to win. And I would take him in a heartbeat, in an absolute heartbeat. I think he would be perfect for the Titans. What is your walk-off for the day?
State of Florida is greater than Washington, D.C., and I fight anybody that tells me different.
We are definitely happy.
I'm telling you, I mean, can we move the citizens of Florida to Washington, D.C. to clean, just common sense approach here, people. I give the power to the state of Florida.
What's funny is a lot of the blue voters thought that with all the snowbirds coming down, that they were going to turn the state. And I think what they found out was Florida's just become a really big Arkansas, meaning everyone that voted red up in New York, they all moved down to Florida. And I think you're going to see that man in the White House sooner than later.
And the ones that were on the fence, I think the past couple of years have fled them off, and they wanted the freedoms that they had in the states that have had surprising victories. So, yes, I think you're right. Unfortunately, you might be searching for a replacement, and I hate that for you guys down there, but enjoy this next couple of years.
Well, I think you're going to see it regardless. So in Florida, you can only be a governor 2 terms in a row. So this is obviously it. Yeah. And he's going to do one or two things. It kind of looks like Donald Trump is going to announce his running next week, I think is when they said. I don't know if DeSantis wants to get in a mud slinging battle against Trump. He might just let him run. And whatever the hell happens. There's a good chance Donald Trump's not going to win. And then he would finish out his term in Florida. And then that would give him 2 solid years to hit the campaign trail to run for president. Or
last minute, drop your name in the primary, and we just the people handle it.
He lets Trump win that damn thing. And then Trump goes and says, hey, I could use some help for people who actually like someone. could you please be my VP? So that would be the other option.
Are you allowed to trade in politics? Because, like, I mean, maybe he could just trade Trump. So he's a resident to be the lieutenant governor or something.
If you could make trades in politics, Joe Biden would make a trade for DeSantis yesterday to put him at the VP. I'm gonna have to ask you to start doing all our press conferences because you do a whole lot better than anyone else I've got.
He's not gonna be asking Elon to host them either.
They tried to paint him in a corner today in the press conference.
That was the funniest question of all of them.
Biden, if they were going to start looking into Elon Musk, and he just danced around. He's basically, he's thinking, would you quit asking me these stupid ass questions?
He's like, somebody come take the microphone.
80 years old, leave me the hell alone, this dumbass crap. Who cares who bought Twitter? All right, bud. We'll see you next week. Vols should roll. And I'm hoping that the Noles, who've looked pretty good, will get that W on Saturday night.
Best of luck and be safe.
I had to laugh. There's a picture circling social media of Cristobal of the Hurricanes and one of his players at a press conference. This is the ACC Media Days, as they were pounding the desk saying, "This is the year that Miami's back." That's right, you're back. You're back to where we've always expected you to be. 45-3.
That was a good thumping. I will say Kansas took a great shot this weekend at Tennessee as well. They had to replace their field goals and didn't ask for a GoFundMe and announced it. So that was a good little shot right there. I thought that was a good little jab. And enjoy your season, Kansas.
It's a good thing Florida State football has gotten a little better because their basketball team lost to Stetson last night. All right, bud. I'll see you next week.
See you.
Sweetheart, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same back time, same back channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. The Armchair Quarterbacks bring you Braves Country Baseball every Tuesday and Friday night, play-by-play with Magee. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette.